Easter, 1900, the Aegean Sea. A group of sponge divers from the Greek island of Symi are on their way to the fishing grounds off the coast of North Africa. They have been at sea for days. The weather turns. A storm pushes them off course and forces them to take shelter in the lee of a tiny, largely uninhabited island called Antikythera, a speck of rock between Crete and the Greek mainland that most ships would pass without a second thought. When the storm subsides, the divers go into the water. Not because they expect to find anything extraordinary. Because they are sponge divers, the water is what they do. One of them, a man named Elias Stadiatis, descends to around 50 meters and surfaces shortly after, shaking. He describes what he has seen as a heap of dead naked people. His crewmates think the depth has disorientated him. His captain, Dimitrios Kondos, dives down himself to see what Stadiatis is talking about. He surfaces holding a bronze arm. The heap of dead naked people is a cargo ship that has been lying on the seafloor for 2,000 years, and it contains something that will take the next century of scientific effort to fully understand. Stay until the end. Because the Antikythera Mechanism, the object that came up with that ship, is one of the most genuinely astonishing things ever pulled from the ground or the sea. And the full story of what it is, how it works, and what it tells you about the ancient world is one that changes the way you think about human intelligence and what civilizations are capable of. So what exactly was on that ship? And how did the mechanism go from the seafloor to one of the most studied objects in the history of science? The wreck was found at a depth of 45 meters off Point Glyphadia on the Greek island of Antikythera. In November of that year, the captain informed Greek officials about what they had found. The Navy dispatched 2 ships to support recovery efforts, which lasted until 1902. That excavation revealed a wealth of discoveries that today are housed in Greece's National Archaeological Museum in Athens. The wreck yielded numerous large objects, including bronze and marble statues, pottery, unique glassware, jewelry, and coins. Among the extraordinary finds was an ancient weapon known as a dolphin, a 100-kilogram lead bulb tipped with an iron spike, intended to be dropped from a ship's yardarm through the deck of an attacking vessel. It is the only example of such a weapon ever discovered. The archaeologists who came to examine the finds were dazzled by the statues. A bronze youth, a philosopher, marble figures of Hercules, Odysseus, Apollo. The ship had been carrying treasures of extraordinary quality, the kind of cargo that moves between the great centers of the ancient world when someone very powerful wants something very beautiful delivered. And then in May 1902, an archaeologist visiting the museum in Athens noticed something that everyone else had overlooked. An archaeologist noticed that a piece of rock recovered from the site had a gear wheel embedded in it. Examination revealed that the rock was in fact a heavily encrusted and corroded mechanism that had survived the shipwreck in 3 main parts and dozens of smaller fragments. The device itself was surprisingly thin, about 33 centimeters high, 17 centimeters wide, and 9 centimeters thick. Made of bronze and originally mounted in a wooden frame. At the beginning, its significance was completely unrecognized until it split apart some months later to reveal gear wheels, much to the astonishment of museum staff. This led 2 years of study and controversy as its true nature emerged. A gear wheel inside something that had been cataloged as a lump of rock. The most significant object recovered from the most significant ancient shipwreck ever found had been sitting in a museum storage area, misidentified, for over a year. What was it and what did it actually do? The Antikythera Mechanism is an ancient Greek hand-powered orrery, a model of the solar system. It is the oldest known example of an analog computer. It could be used to predict astronomical positions and eclipses decades in advance. It could also be used to track the 4-year cycle of athletic games, including the cycle of the ancient Olympic Games. Sit with that for a moment. A hand-cranked bronze device, built sometime around 80 BC, that could predict where the sun and moon and planets would be in the sky on any given future date, and that could tell you decades in advance when a solar or lunar eclipse would occur. It was a mechanical computer of bronze gears that used groundbreaking technology to make astronomical predictions by mechanising astronomical cycles and theories. Now split into 82 fragments, only a third of the original survives, including 30 corroded bronze gear wheels. Its design was a highly ingenious fusion of ancient Babylonian and Greek mathematical astronomy, combining cycles from Babylonian astronomy, mathematics from Plato's Academy, and ancient Greek astronomical theories. The Babylonian astronomers had spent centuries tracking the movements of celestial bodies and identifying the cycles they followed. The Greeks had developed mathematical frameworks for understanding why those cycles behaved the way they did. Whoever built the Antikythera Mechanism had taken both traditions and encoded them into bronze gears, producing a physical object that could mechanize the mathematics of the cosmos. The eclipse prediction scheme it implemented through descriptive glyphs inscribed around a 223-month Saros dial at the rear of the mechanism. A glyph in a particular month indicates a predicted eclipse. Each glyph indicates whether the predicted eclipse is lunar or solar, the possible visibility of the eclipse, and its time of day. The Saros cycle, a pattern in which eclipses repeat on an approximately 18-year rhythm, had been known to Babylonian astronomers for centuries. The mechanism encodes that cycle in a physical dial. You turn a handle, the gears move, the dials advance, the pointer arrives at a glyph. The glyph tells you an eclipse is coming, no calculation required. The mathematics is already built into the machine. The mechanism is remarkable for the level of miniaturization and the complexity of its parts, which is comparable to that of 14th century astronomical clocks. 14th century astronomical clocks. The mechanism sitting in that Athens museum predates the next comparable piece of technology by over 1,000 years. Whatever tradition of engineering produced it did not survive antiquity. The knowledge was lost, the tools were lost. The craftspeople who could build something like this, who understood the mathematics well enough to encode it in interlocking bronze gears at the scale of a thick book, left no successors that we know of. The Antikythera Mechanism alone has changed our views of the limits of ancient technology. Drop a like if this changed how you think about the ancient world. Subscribe for more. And leave a comment. What do you think happened to the knowledge that produced this machine?